Good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing this lovely, fine, beautiful, gorgeous day? Actually, it's beautiful and sunny. As you can see, it's really hot. I'm actually going to do an Uber story. I know I haven't done one of these stories in a long time, but I've had a couple of rude writers since the last time that I did the last rude story from hell. I'm not just trying to make this collection of Uber stories just plain stories from hell, but it seems as though I get a lot more views when they're stories from hell as opposed to when they're positive, cool, reinforcing stories. So with no further ado, I'm going to do a story from hell. It's actually not as bad as the one that I told you guys. Oh my god, I can't even see. The sun is directly in my face. This is not right. But I just dropped him off. I'm just gonna go ahead and straight out tell you, as soon as I picked him up, I got this like weird vibe from him. He was like picking up his pants and like kind of running out of the house, and I was like, maybe he just woke up late, he's going to work now, because usually that's what happens. And so no, flat out told me, he's like, oh, I just got out of a rendezvous, a sexual rendezvous. And I was like, well, what kind of rendezvous is not sexual? Okay, it's 6 in the morning, I really don't want to know what you were doing last night. I honestly don't. You're filling my ears up with filth, and I just don't, like, I don't want to know other people's disgusting. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. Hashtag not sorry. I'm not. I just stop. And so I don't want to know. And he was like, well, yeah, I just thought I'd say it. And I was like, no, I don't know why you would. Okay, I had to restart the video because the sun was in my face and was not letting me see anything. It still is, but it's not as bad right now. I'm about to turn right here. Are you kidding me? So that's how the morning started. He was just like, oh yeah, I don't live around here. I hope you don't mind where you're going. We're going to go to the east side of Atlanta where it's hood. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, I don't care. I was like, I'll just get out of the area. It's just not a big deal. I'll just go to Claremont and Druid Hills, you know? And he was just like being really weird. I can't even understand why some people are like that. Like, oh, I just want to like slap them upside the head, in the face, on the side, on the forehead, and like be like, dude, stop. Like, why do you have to put a front and a show everywhere you go? Like, you can tell it's a front. Stop. And then he was we started driving, and he was like, are you from here? And I was like, no, I'm from here. I'm from Gwinnett County. He's like, well, you look Hispanic. Where are you from? And I was just I'm from Mexico, but I've been here all my life. No, I've actually been traveling around the world in the States since 2009. I'm an English teacher. Oh, you're an English teacher? Yeah. So I thought the situation was going to get better. Like the conversation was going to get better because he was asking me like decent questions now. And then he was just like, I don't know how we got to this conversation, but he was like, oh yeah, he flat out just went, so do you get any cheap rides? And I was just, yeah, I mean, I get pool rides. I really don't like pool rides because, it's just people who just don't want to pay. I'm like, and I'm sorry to say, but the area where we're going is just pool rides. So I'm going to get out of there. I'm going to go to Claremont and Druid Hills and like other areas where they won't, where it won't like really hurt their hearts to pay $2 more because I got to work. And he was just like, oh yeah, well, and then he started acting like really pretentious. He was like, well, you'd be surprised in Druid Hills, the white people. And then he started acting as if he was an actual white person because he was African American, and he's not like I killed him or anything. Shouldn't say that. But yeah, he still is. And he was just like, oh, it really hurts me to pay you more. I'm pretentious. I don't care. I'm not gonna give you more. You don't deserve more. I own you. And I was like, I'm sorry, are you actually talking to me or are you role playing? And he was like, oh, no, I'm acting like a white person. And I'm like, that's really racist. Like, why would you I'm the Uber driver. I know how people are. Cultures are all different, but I know that not like one culture doesn't act a certain way as opposed to another one. It's just the person. It's the person. It's their character. It's not like, oh, because you're white, then you're gonna, no, it's the character. It's how you were raised, where you were raised, no matter the color. It's the character. It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's the culture. So he was like, no. White people are sometimes most likely he's like the rich folks, the rich white folks. They're cheap because that's why they're rich, because they're cheap. And I'm like, I just could not believe like racial profiling and labeling and being prejudiced automatically and stuff. And I was just like, okay, dude, can you stop? Because like, I honestly don't know where you're going with this. And he was like, he was just like, no, I'm just letting you know, like, that's how they are. And I was like, okay, well, can you stop? And then he was like, do you model? And like randomly out of nowhere, he's like, do you model? I was like, I used to for 14 years. And he's like, oh, why don't you do it anymore? And I was like, because I just stopped. Like, I'm actually a teacher now. Oh, you're a teacher? I was like, yeah, I'm a teacher. And then he was like, well, you know, you're not bad looking. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? And he's like, you're not bad looking. I was like, why would you say that? He's like, because you're not bad. Is that gonna break you or something? Is that like, is your head gonna fall off if I say you're not bad? And I was like, why would you ask me if I model if I'm just not bad? I don't care what you think. I mean, I have my husband to tell me how beautiful I am, and that's all that matters to me. Like, you, one random stranger, is not going to hurt me or bother me. Trust me, sweetie. I've been around the block like 4 or 5 times, and I don't care. Like, it really, I could care less. But it's really odd that you would say that. It asked me if I model. Only a person who asks me if I model asks me that because they're trying to get to something. Like, it's not a random question. Like, it would be a random question if I said something along the lines of modeling, and then if the person goes, oh, do you model then? Like, that makes sense. But it was just out of nowhere. He's like, do you model? Which means I'm beautiful in his head, but because he doesn't want to shatter his ego into pieces and his pride took over, he's like, you're not bad, because he refuses to humble himself. I don't know why. But I'm sorry, but I snapped. I was like, look, this is going to be a 40-minute ride. Do you think you can keep your composure? Because if you're not going to keep your composure, I can drop you off right here, and you can request another Uber rider, maybe an ugly, bald, fat guy, so you don't have to start hitting on them and then being all pretentious about stuff and like really egotistical about and awkward about your rendezvous. A man is not going to want to know about your rendezvous, okay? Like, I'm going to tell you right now. Like, a woman doesn't either. Like, nobody does. So I don't know why you're telling me. And he was like, oh, okay, I'll stop talking. Why are you so sensitive? I was like, I'm not being sensitive. I'm being real. I'm telling you right now, like, it's going to be a 40-minute ride, but if you're going to make it uncomfortable for me, asking him about my features, if I model, and commenting that I'm not bad looking, as if I ever asked you, is just really unprofessional, and it's really disrespectful, actually. So you're disrespecting my person. So I'm going to ask you right now to stop. He's like, okay, I'll zip it. I'll stop talking. And I was just like, okay, so is that how we're going to be? He's like, yeah, because we were at a red light. I was going to like just drop him off and have him get picked up by an old grandma or a big fat bald guy or whatever. And he was just like, he zipped it the whole way. I got a report after I dropped him off saying that I'm unprofessional because I told him like it was. And I told him, like, before we stopped talking, I was like, listen, honey, I told you, I'm going to tell you like it is. So I'm not hiding anything. And like, please don't ruin my day because you were my first writer. Please don't ruin my day. Stop with the innuendos and the unnecessary comments and the sexual harassment, because I feel like it was sexual harassment. And so he is like, oh, you're so sensitive. Yeah, he said that. So I was like, okay, you know, I don't care if you, whatever you think I'm doing. I was like, I can drop you off or we can continue. And he was like, okay, I'll just zip it. So he reported me for being unprofessional, but he conveniently left out how he talked to me. So when I saw the report, I was like, you know what? I was going to report him anyways. He beat me to it, but I'm going to go ahead and tell Uber exactly what he said to me. And I reported him, and then Uber took it serious, guys. they took it serious. They were like, oh, this is a matter of concern or something like that. And he's like, they're like, we're gonna call you. Somebody's gonna call you shortly because this is unacceptable behavior. And so I was at the bank at the time when some 1-800 number called me, so I kept rejecting it. And they left a voice message, and then they said, we're gonna email you. So they basically in the email said, we're sorry that you had to go through that. This is unacceptable behavior. We are going to close his account. So now he's banned from Uber forever. And hey, my word against his, I'm not even lying about it, honestly. This is actually how it went down. It was very uncomfortable, and he was really disrespectful and rude. And he sexually harassed me pretty much, even though he didn't straight up go, hey, I want to rendezvous with you. But he told me that he was like really exhausted because he had a sexual rendezvous. I don't want to know. It's 6 in the morning. I just dropped off my son at daycare. Why do I have to know about how disgusting your sex life is? Like, I don't care. So yeah, that was that. And then to top it off, guys, another story of today. Oh, today is just a day of amazing stories, guys. This guy I picked up, oh my gosh, I'm not even joking about this, guys. This guy had horns coming out of his forehead. Horns. I'm talking about 5-inch horns. They were like freaking ram horns. They were black. They were coming out like this. And I just remembered my story that my mom told me. She was like, I picked up the guy with horns, and it was like a sign. It was a sign of the devil. She was like, I started rebuking the devil in the name of Jesus Christ, and I saw him slurping a frappe coming up to my car with his heart sunglasses in the shape of a heart, red striped heart sunglasses, and I was just like, what? And so knowing me, I'm one of those people that will strike up a conversation to avoid a very awkward ride when I feel like it's being really awkward. So I started striking up a conversation with a dude, and he turned out to be pretty nice, which is like odd enough. But I am very, very, very blatant and honest. And so I don't know, maybe I'm like a 6-year-old girl sometimes, because I'm like, why do you have horns on your head? I straight up asked him. I was like, may I ask why you have horns on your head? And he was like, and I'm going to say verbatim what he said, and you can react to it. It's funny or whatever. But he was like, it's a form of expression of how I feel on the inside. I was like, can you just say you're weird? You could just say you're weird. That's all you have to say. Just say you're weird, dude. Yes. So I was like, okay, here's my form of expression. And I turned up the Christian music all the way up. And he was like, that's nice. Like, he didn't even feel bothered. But I know he was a Satanist. I am 1,000% positive he was a Satanist. Because he's not dead yet. He is a Satanist. But yeah, I was rebuking him in my heart, and I was also praying in my heart, and I also had the Christian music all the way up, baby, because if you have a right to, I was like, freedom of speech, right? And he was like, yeah. I was like, this is my freedom of speech. And so I turned up that music. I was like, Jesus, Jesus. He was like, oh, okay. I was like, yeah, we all have freedom of speech, right? It's not just you guys. It's us too, right? Right. It can't just go one way, because then you'd be a hypocrite. Saying that freedom of speech only is all that stuff, Satanism and homosexuality and all that good stuff. Only you guys. But what about us? Freedom of speech too. So you can play that game. We can play that game. Anyways, that's my Uber story from hell. Literally from hell. From the fiery pits of hell. And I wasn't scared because I got Jesus on my side. Peace. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed my stories. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next run.